default skills in.
All right, guys, we are back.
Yes.
This is not, I repeat, Emerald Spire. This is, in fact, King Arthur Pendragon 5.1. Most
Yes.
of the Emerald Spire group. Steven,
Undead.
our Magus, is on deployment, so we're stepping in here to do King Arthur Pendragon. If everyone enjoys it after Emerald Spire is over, we might continue it. We'll see. We'll see. So this is a game about knights. In fact, let me read you the intro for it. Pendragon is a game where you make up imaginary characters who travel around and do medieval things in King Arthur's realm. It's mostly about talking back and forth. You tell me what you want your knights to do, and then either I tell you what happens, or you roll the dice to see if it works. It's kind of like playing cops and robbers as a kid, but instead of saying I've got you or no you didn't, you roll dice. In a sense, I'm the producer of an Arthurian movie, and you are the actors. But you have the power to determine the script and most of the stage direction. So, the thing you need to know before going into King Arthur Pendragon is that it's entirely fictional. Everything about it's fictional. The portrayal of all the religions in it, fictional. For instance, Islam doesn't even come into existence until 100 years after the game ends, because Prophet Muhammad isn't even born yet. Everything is fictional, so don't be offended if you see something. It's all completely not like the real stuff. And I don't know if dragons are real. That's still left to be determined, but you probably didn't fight them with giant metal shields, because that seems like a good way to have it melted to your arm. So, let's talk about how the world works. There is knighthood and knights. In the world of King Arthur Pendragon, in the dark ages of times, there were a couple universal laws, things that people followed. And becoming a knight was considered one of the highest things you could do, but it was also one of the most difficult. And there were 4 universal laws: hospitality, family, and loyalty. Everyone followed those. Hospitality is if you go into someone's house and they accept you in and you drink their water and you have some of their food, you can offer no insult to them, they offer no insult to you. You must be civil, and no one would ever, you wouldn't come into any harm. If you wanted to challenge someone to a duel, you would have to step off of their property to carry out that duel. So hospitality is extremely important. Family is also extremely important. The characters that we will be making here are not low-ranking people. They are the head of their family. Even if they're 20, 25, 30, 40, whatever they end up being, they are the head of their family. They might have an uncle, but they are the person that everyone comes to solve money problems, to get the pixies off their land, to raise an army to stop the Saxons. The family bond, your family relies on you, and so you must also rely on them. Loyalty is the basis of the feudalistic society, and that's the 3rd oath. When you become a knight, you pledge yourself to a lord, and that lord pledges himself to someone else until you get up to the kings and the high kings and all of that. So even the peasants pledge themselves to the lords of their local manor, and so it creates an unbroken chain of loyalty. And that loyalty, if you break the oaths, all people will shun you. And finally, the least of the 4 oaths is honor. Only knights need to have honor. The clergy, the churchmen don't need to have honor. They put God in front of everything. Commoners don't need honor because they must live their lives. They have to worry about the food, the farming, and all that stuff. Women don't have honor because they're women. Remember, fictional. Not real. But women are portrayed very poorly in this game. I will say that up front. Knights must have honor because they take the oath of knighthood. Without honor, their oaths mean nothing. You could maintain your own personal sense of honor. So honor is one of those concepts that everyone has. When you see honor, you know it, but your definition of it will be different than someone else's. So there are the two types of honor: personal honor and those that are recognized everywhere. And the balance between those two, it makes for some of the best stories of the Arthurian era. I think we've covered most of the concepts here of the early time. We're not going to go into laws of Arthurian society because Arthurian society hasn't formed yet. There's the balance between the three religions of the island of Breton, which are Roman Christian, who are, of course, the precursors to Catholicism. And then there are British Christians who believe in the Holy Grail having come into Britain. They believe that Jesus left the Holy Grail on Britain during his lost years, and that Joseph of Arimathea, his uncle, came back with the blood of Jesus Christ, and that the island of Britain is extremely important in the British Christian Church. And finally, there is what the majority of the island commoners follow, which is the kind of Druidic paganism. Yes. And there's a lot of spirits or gods in paganism, so it's very hard to define, but it is a nature-based religion. So it's also a lot about living life. And finally, there's magic. Don't worry about it, because none of you will ever have power to use magic. If you ever learn how to use magic, you take a -8 on your honor, so it pretty much knocks you out of the game. So I think, yeah, it's pretty bad. Becoming a sorcerer knight is extremely hard. Alright, so I've talked a lot about the basis here. I'm kind of doing a fast forward, because many of these concepts will go over again during play. You begin in the county of Salisbury, which is the center of Britain. It is an extremely important area. As you can see, Stonehenge is there. Camelot will be built eventually to the east of it. It is an extremely, I'm not going to say wealthy, but it is extremely productive farming land, as you can tell from its lack of forested area and lots of rivers.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, you are going to begin as young men who are still squires, not yet knights, in that area. So let's begin character creation. I think all of you have chosen a name for your characters. So let's go around and just begin by introducing the names. Anash?
Sir Robert. Robert. Right now, he doesn't have anything attached. Yeah, not yet. Squire
not yet,
Robert.
but he will be soon. Assuming he survives character creation.
Yeah.
Wait,
it's harder
Assuming
than
Guy doesn't kill him.
This is one of those games where you might not survive character creation. Kai, what was your character's name again?
Sermond.
Sermond. Let me get that down here. Sermond. Eric, who are you bringing to the table?
I am bringing Aurelius the Steadfast.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, nice.
Alright, I have to make sure I spell steadfast right. And Kurama, who are you bringing?
I will be Dobbin.
Dobbin the Squire. Alright. Dobbin. Alright, now that you've chosen your name, you begin with your homeland, culture, and religion. So you are from the county of Salisbury. You are all Chimerics, and you can choose to be either form of Christianity or pagan. Does anyone know what choice they'd like to be?
Pagan.
So
Pagan.
its culture is where it's Chimeric?
Yes, culture is Chimeric.
I think I'll be probably going with British Christian.
I think my name strikes more Roman Christian, so I'll go with that.
Alright. So we got a mixed party here.
Yes. I'm glad I got Kai as an ally.
Okay.
Heathens.
Underneath the people section of the character sheet, I'm gonna throw this up here just so people can see what it looks like. These fantastic character sheets that someone made for Pendragon. You can add people. You'll add your father to your family. You make up a name for him. All of your fathers will have known each other. They're like they were an adventuring band together, and so you have all grown up kind of in their shadow.
What would we fill in for role?
Father.
Okay.
Father will be Stanley.
We don't need to put in skills, correct?
No, nothing. Your father will be dead at the time we start this because you're
What?
That's how we're the head of the family, right?
Yep, that's how you're the head of the family.
Father, no.
You're the eldest son of the main line.
I'm not ready for the responsibility.
It's too late. He's gone.
Finally, that old man's gone.
Wow. That was some evil shit, Adash.
Now people will want to kill me at every turn.
Alright, let me get the names in here. But let's continue while we're doing that. Some of you have picked a title. Obviously, Eric has picked Aurelius the Steadfast. I don't know if anyone else wants to make up a title for themselves.
Why not? The bear.
I don't.
The Bear?
The bear.
Okay, yeah. Robert the Bear.
I don't.
That
I
sounds
don't like which traits would define suspicion. Like
Actually, bears are
suspicion.
lazy now.
The
What?
shifty-eyed. The black. I mean, black knights are always suspicious, right?
So, are you suspicious of other people, or are you yourself suspicious?
no,
Yeah,
of like just paranoid basically.
I don't know that
The
anyone
guarded.
would broadcast that as part of their title.
Yeah. But how
The
would it come
guarded.
off?
Weird.
How would it come off though? Like
Interesting question.
I don't
What's your character's name?
Did
Dalvin.
you say guarded, Eric? Because that
The
actually
guarded.
sounds like a pretty
guarded is really good.
yeah. That sounds a really good way of putting paranoid.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh. Actually, I'm gonna change mine to lion, not bear. Because like bears are kind of lazy.
Robert the Lion. Plus, you have a lion on your
Yeah.
coat of arms.
Well, not like lions aren't lazy as well, actually, but it just seems cool.
Just male lions.
Yeah, just male.
Have to redo the cameras just to fix Eric's title on the end of his name. Aurelius.
I just keep making things difficult for you.
No, that's good. You got this super long title name. Alright, and your father, you are the eldest son. Your liege lord, I think that's still on here, right? Liege lord, your liege lord is Earl Roderick. He is the Earl of Salisbury.
Roderick.
Oops, that was a mistake.
CK.
Now, your father's name is important because someone might walk up and be like, "Oh, I knew your father. Yeah, I fought beside what's his name in the war. You know, the 15 that we fought in the last 10 years."
What's his
a lot
name?
of war.
A lot of wars.
Yeah, there are.
I also noticed your grandfather can die in a lot of situations.
Oh yeah. So we're not doing that Salisbury family history because not only does it take forever, but some really weird shit can happen. It's super easy for him to die. Okay, everyone rolls a d20 now to determine what their starting home is.
Oh, wow.
Croama,
Oh.
you are from the Fief of White.
On
Kai,
Pathfinder.
you're from Cholderton. Aurelius is from Laverstock, and Anaj is from Winterbourne
Winterbourne.
Stoke.
I'm never gonna remember that. Damn it.
Okay, where do I put that?
That will be under your manor, which should be all the way to the right. Is your manor name? I'm gonna put the manors in the chat there so everyone can remember them easy.
Yeah. Wile?
That should be 20, not
Winterborn
0.
Stoke just sounds very like Winterfellish.
That reminds me, someone, when they heard that I was gonna possibly run Game of Thrones, someone sent me a copy of the Night's Watch supplement because they wanted to see a party full of Night's Watchmen going around fighting dudes in the north, maybe stabbing some commanders because apparently that's what we do. I gotta say, it's really hard being a warden commander up there, right? I mean, the watch commanders are constantly being stabbed.
Constantly, yeah. No spoilers there.
All right. So there's a map that shows you where the local manors are. Let's throw this up here, see if we can find anything. There's Winterborn Stoke, right up near Stonehenge.
Ah, perfect. That actually works out
Okay.
quite cool.
Why in the world does this, whenever I click on these things, it moves up and down, so I can't actually see the full thing?
I'm not sure. There's Weil. It's west of Berwick St. James. It's along the Northwest River route.
Where's my place? Ah, there it is.
Yeah, where is Weil? Yeah, there it is, Northwest River.
Yeah.
So you're near Castle Vagon, so you're kind of near, like, a center of civilization. You're pretty close there.
I'm closest to Amesbury. Amesbury.
Yes.
Let's see, where is Laverstock? Oh, there it is.
Stonehenge.
Cholderton's up the northeast rise there. Where was Laverstock? Oh,
It's sort of right
near
at the
Sarum.
bottom.
Yep.
Right by Sarum, yeah.
So you should be along the road, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
All of your houses
Yeah,
are all along
Laverstock's
the
close.
road.
Yeah.
And one of you might even be in the Chute Forest. Yeah, Cholderton's right by a forest.
Nice. You get stuff. Can you hunt
Across
there?
the Horn River.
Well,
course.
Laverstock is actually very near a forest.
Yep. Okay, so you guys are all currently 21, but by the end of character generation, you can become 26. We'll go into that more later. You can sacrifice years of your life to gain bonus skills, but it's also kind of a social thing. A 26-year-old person being knighted is kind of like, everyone's going to remember it as like the guy who graduated college 4 years late. Let's see here. All right, so now we do traits and passions.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
You guys all chose a religion. So if you are Roman Christian, you get a 13 in the following values: chaste, forgiving, merciful, modest, and temperate. I think that's
So,
just a relative.
chaste, forgiving, merciful,
Yep.
Ha.
Modest and temperate.
modest, and temperate.
And
They're
as you know,
completely opposite of pagans.
the skill on the right-hand side lowers to a 7 in the process because the skills are balanced. So when you are rolling for a skill, you want to roll this number or less. So higher numbers are great. If you end up getting a 20, that means you can never fail that skill.
You mean?
If you raise your trait to 20, you can never ever fail that skill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It also means that you embody that particular trait to the max. So just to give you another look into this, this is not going to be very important early on, but if you get a 16 in all of the traits that your religion asks for, you become a religious knight and you gain a bonus to your, sometimes it's attack, sometimes you get bonus defense, sometimes you get extra HP. But the magic of embodying your religion is quite real here. So if you wanted to aim for something like that, it's a possibility. British Christians, I think there's only one of you. You will get the virtues of chaste, energetic, generous, modest, and temperate.
Pagan. Pagan.
Pagans get generous,
Pagan.
energetic, honest, lustful, and proud.
Yeah. I can see Kai and me doing this really well.
So, what do these traits mean?
Wait, could you list that again?
It is generous, energetic, honest, lustful, and proud. So the way this is going to work is, let's say there's someone super annoying at a feast who is boasting about how he has slain more Saxons and
Sheep.
Picts than the rest of you, how his sword is the sharpest and larger than everyone else's, and he challenges you to like list all of your kills. That would be a skill check. You know, if you didn't want to say, you know, if you wanted to kind of blow him off, you would need to roll for your modest. Now, let's say you fail that because your modest is super low because you're a pagan. Then you roll for your proud. So you roll for the opposite skill. If you fail that, you get to choose what you do. On the other hand, let's say you succeeded on proud. You would immediately stand up and I would get control of your character, and your character would be like, well, I'll tell you about the number of men I've killed, and look at the size of my sword.
And we are not using innuendo whatsoever.
Exactly. So that's how skills work. They don't just represent, you know, numbers. They're actually how your character plays things out. And it also gives us a chance for something random to happen. Now, everyone starts with the trait of Valorous at 15. You are all knights. You've all been given martial training. You have the steadfast power of your god or gods on your side. So, no problem there. You get a famous trait, something that you are famous for, and that you set at 16.
Oh.
Now, if you have one or more traits at 16, when you come to the end of winter and you do like the tallying up phase of that year, every trait that's above 16 gives you a bonus. You get more glory, you'll level faster, that kind of thing. You'll become well known.
Ooh, vengeful. Go on vengeful.
Oh,
Oh,
suspicious.
vengeful.
Yeah,
I am incredibly angry at everyone.
definitely suspicious.
Wow, you guys are picking some
Serious stuff. Like,
historically
this is-
negative traits. That's what I'll say.
Well, everything on the right side, I imagine, is negative.
Well, I guess I'm the only one who didn't.
What did you pick?
Just.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh.
That's the traditional Arthurian trait.
When
Okay,
I'm-
you are a man known for your justice. Perhaps you... I see this party kind of coming together as you're kind of like the guy that keeps the rest of them from running out and murdering a bunch of Picts.
I see as
I mean,
we
I
come
almost
together.
always play Paladin, so this is kind of my wheelhouse here.
Okay, this is interesting.
Well, when I'm at the center of civilization, friends surround me. I don't know who my enemy
I
is.
see more as this coming up of us murdering each other.
At least with your
Just a
enemies,
quick
you know where they
question.
stand.
There is PvP, but we'll get onto that. It's not what you would anticipate.
Yeah.
So you
Perfect.
can't knowingly kill each other.
But I'm vengeful.
Well, that's so vengeful
Well, sure,
would be
but
like
imagine it this way. This is vengeful, right? So let's say
I know,
you're fighting...
vengeful would be going against them. They've done something to me.
Sure, but let's say you're fighting a Saxon in a field, right? And he drops to his knees and surrenders because you've beaten him badly. You cut his head off. There's nothing else to it. You're just like, whoop.